Hey guys, how you doing? Chris here. I am filming another Leftover Culture Review Snippets video. That's a terrible way to start. Hey guys, and welcome to the Leftover Culture Review Snippets series of videos. That first video I put out, incredible reception. I really appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. Everyone had such nice things to say, and as of the time I'm recording this video update, there haven't been any dislikes, which totally blows my mind. So look, I really appreciate you guys hopping in and leaving your comments, leaving a like, and supporting this channel through whatever I'm trying to do with it. I'm actually getting ready to record a review right now, but I thought it was a perfect opportunity to hop on camera. Computers are still buzzing in the background, fans are still on, I don't have any of the lights on. It's just a really good opportunity to hop in front of the camera and say thanks for watching that first video. I hope you liked the Cybermorph review that I put out last. A really long time in the making for a video like that. I think it's been well over a year since I first started planning and started the initial recording for that review. The problem with reviews, and this is going to be like a really broad topic on why it takes me so long to get my stuff together to record videos for the channel, but the problem that I have with reviews is that you start off with an idea, but then you start adding all this other stuff on top of it. So there's the special effects stuff, there was the gameplay footage. I wanted to mention the controversy that happened around video game reviewing at the time, the Atari Panther, the sister console to the Atari Jaguar that never got fully developed. Like, a review feels like a documentary in that sense, that you're pulling all these different sources and different types of information and trying to create a video out of it that's coherent, that's fun and engaging to watch, that has a few jokes and a little bit of attitude. But it turned into a 15-minute video, and I find those quite hard to make because there's so much stuff to consider when you make it. Yeah, so it was a really interesting experience trying to get that video together, and it's definitely the longest that I've spent on a video in a really long time. The Leftover Culture Review has in a ways, it's evolved quite a lot. Like, this is the 7th year that I've been doing it. When I first started out the channel, I was living in Brisbane City with my partner at the time, who's now my wife. No kids, just hanging out. I started, the idea and putting it all together when we were living in an apartment. We moved to a house in the city a year later, and I started actually putting together my first reviews. If you go back and check out Vigilante, as well as I think Shadow Dancer was filmed there, and there was like my first ever, like Earthworm Jim was supposed to be the first ever review, but it never happened at the time, so I had to go back and do it a little bit later. But yeah, those two early reviews I think were filmed in Albion. It's just interesting when I think about how much life has changed for myself. When we moved to the next place, Bellbird Park, we had like a living room section set apart to for me to film in. I filmed the Chikan reviews there, Rampage, a lot of the Atari Lynx stuff was filmed there. It was a really interesting space because it was in the living room, and we had a newborn child at that stage. I've always been working full-time since I started the Leftover Culture Review, so I'm not trying to justify or talk about why episodes take so long to happen. I'm not looking for excuses. I know that life gets in the way, and as fun as it is to put this sort of stuff together, how I review and how I approach reviewing and the types of videos that I'm making have actually changed quite substantially depending on what's happening in my life. And what's happening now is very different to 6 months ago, which is why I started doing this Leftover Culture Review Snippets video. You may have seen in my videos over the years that I've got 2 children. I'm living now in a house with my own games room, which is freaking awesome. I've had my own games room for the last, probably 5 years. But the videos that I made back then was very much inspired by the Angry Video Game Nerd. I remember the Happy Console Gamer. I was I was looking into making video game reviews for about a year. I was really slow to pull the trigger there, but I did my research, I looked around online, I looked at other channels I liked, and the Happy Console Gamer had that really sort of like enthusiastic, vibrant personality. He looked at the really cool stuff that I really enjoyed, the Sega stuff. He obviously touched on a lot of the Neo Geo stuff that I fell in love with a little bit later. I really liked the way he went about it, and I liked the attitude that he brought to camera, and I thought it was a little bit corny, like the bandanas and stuff, but he was like a really genuine person, really fun to watch and really engaging. That's kind of why I started coming in wearing the leather jacket and the gloves, and I thought it was a really fun way to approach making videos. I had a bit of a persona that I wanted to build up to bring to my videos, and look, when I first started making the videos, they didn't feel like documentaries. They were this character looking at a game. Bruiser looks at Vigilante, and it's all about beating thugs up, and there were jokes about, you know, your mum's boyfriend's cousin's brother or whatever. It was the character was supposed to be funny. He was playing a video game. I wasn't looking at the history behind Vigilante, the video game. I wasn't looking at why it existed or what else was on the market at the time or how it competed with this, you know, competition, Double Dragon on the NES, or, you know, I wasn't looking at the whole picture. And I think as I made a few more video reviews and I started looking at these video games closer, and questions started coming up in the comments, and why did I leave this out and why didn't I mention this, I took a lot of that feedback on board, and I really wanted to build a video game review show that, you know, not necessarily told you if a game was good or bad, but I'm using a manual lens and I keep feeling like I'm falling out of focus as the light changes outside. But I wanted to build a video game review show that didn't tell you if the game was good or bad, but told you like why it existed. I wanted to like capture that feeling, that excitement behind it, and I wanted to really give it a chance to shine. I think that was a big thing for me. Another big influence at the start was Yahtzee. Zero punctuation, Yahtzees, Yahtzee Crawshaws, like really scathing reviews and breakdowns of video games, and I felt like I wanted to capture that excitement that Johnny Millennium, the Happy Console Gamer, had, and I wanted to, you know, maybe combat a little bit of that. Like, I really enjoy Zero Tolerance, Zero Punctuation as a series of videos, and I think what he does is really funny, but I saw him pull apart a game that I quite enjoyed, and in my head I'm thinking, man, if I could have a way to go back to this guy and say, this is why you're wrong. Not like I could care, but yeah, that's why I started making the show, and I built Bruiser the character to try and capture that excitement. But on the same, in the same token, it was really hard to talk about the research and what was happening behind the scenes at some of those companies and why some of those decisions were made at the time as well. So as the Leftover Culture Review series grew and I became more interested in why, the videos changed as well, and it's hard to put together like a really in-depth video. This sort of stuff where I'm talking to the camera, where I might have like a few titles and stuff, it's really easy to do, and I really like appreciate vloggers like Casey Neistat. Everyone's mentioned him, but I love the way that they can just film for the day, put together a video based on that footage, and that's it. They're not going back, they're not revisiting, they're not adding in extra research, or it's not the same process. It's very, very, very different. And I want this sort of vlogging style to be like a counterbalance to the hours and the research and the special effects that I put into the Leftover Culture Review series. And I think it works in that sense. But the reason I've got a bit more time now, you know, it's the last 6 months have been crazy, and I want to start making more content. I have always worked full-time at this one software company. When I first started working there, I thought I need to have a bit of an outlet for my creativity, and now I've got that opportunity. The Leftover Culture Review was a bit of a hobby, but now I really want to. Well, I'm not working full-time anymore. So I've got a great opportunity now to work on the Leftover Culture Review, work on these sort of videos. I'm picking up a few freelance gigs on the side, which are all really positive, good things. I really enjoy making videos, and I'm really excited about the chance to make more of these sort of videos, make more Leftover Culture Review videos, and really try and build that momentum back up to where it was a couple of years ago when I was able to put in a lot more time and effort into the series. Videos take a really long time to make, and I'm trying to get more efficient at it, and I think having a space, like there's a few really good tips that every YouTuber should be just doing to make their life a little bit easier. Having a consistent space set up where they can film in, having obviously one. I want to make a whole Leftover Culture Review snippet series around having a script versus winging having a script versus winging an entire review, because there's some YouTubers out there who can just hop on camera and start talking and it sounds freaking amazing, and they're coherent and they're fun and they're engaging and they're really authentic, and I love that about them. But I've always had a script. I've always worked with a script, and I'm trying to get a little bit better at letting loose a little, just talking, getting my thoughts out there. I think that would make a really interesting comparison on this sort of snippet series of videos, so stay tuned guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this snippets video. I'm going to check if my render is finished, which I really hope it is, so I can start recording a new review for you guys. Peace.